The way in which we identify this problem will rely not only on what happens locally, but also on the effects that worldwide frequent. Because as time goes by, pollution is something that becomes more and more severe and irreversible. And in spite of that, there is still not enough awareness to give it the seriousness that is due, since they are still used and thrown away plastics, as well as discarding garbage in the streets, including waste and water contamination.
The way in which the associations are creating initiatives to counteract the impact of the pollution problem in Irapuato is that the PAN councillor, Victor Zanella Huerta, is preparing the presentation of a new initiative to create a regulation that regulates visual pollution and auditory that affects our city of Irapuato. Our municipality does not have a regulation that can regulate any type of contamination, so this regulation is an advance in terms of solving the problem.
The regulation has 81 articles, of which 10 are transitory. The regulation was created to have a regulation according to the conditions of our municipality. The regulation is based on an investigation conducted by the councillor about producers with the same function in other parts of the country. An example of the articles contained in the regulation is as follows. We have to ask them for bell bones that were aligned with the measures that indicate the territorial code, that do not exceed, for example, noise. Hearing pollution must have a control based on a few protocols to a certain parameter, must be well controlled so that it does not damage the quality and health of people's lives. They improve the quality of life of the Irapuatenses. The visual and auditory pollution will be reduced, but also to the contamination of waste.
Critical thinking helped me to better understand the problem of pollution and by analyzing what its causes are, where it comes from, why it originates, what damage and consequences it causes to the environment and our health. I could understand why this is a problem that afflicts the whole world, and also my community, since in a certain percentage this problem is caused by us and by our activity on the planet, such as factories. And finally, evaluate what would be the possible alternatives to curb and counteract the effects of pollution. Develop my citizen competence further by looking for what proposals are being proposed here in Irapuato to curb the consequences of pollution. I read what these proposals are, and I came to the conclusion that if they could reduce pollution production a bit, and with more proposals, this could gradually increase. Some positive aspects of this learning process is that when you investigate, you become more aware as a citizen of what problems exist in your community and what is being done to solve them. And a negative aspect is that I did not understand very well how the proposals are applied, so I think it would be easier to understand them if we did it in field work.
Critical thinking helped me to understand and be more aware of the different problems that are around us, especially this problem of pollution that we suffer every day. Made me realize that this problem affects us all without exception. Moreover, we continue to pollute and affect our environment and ourselves more. By working and researching on this problem, I increased my development on my citizens' competence. Since I could know more about the proposals that are being made in this city, and in these ways be able to contribute more by presenting new proposals or acting, so that they can be achieved. In this learning, the only lessons I acquired were positive and no negative. Since I search about these problems, you can discover the different plans that are being carried to solve these problems and be able to make some changes.
Critical thinking helped me to become more aware of the problem and made me realize how irreversible it is becoming more and more. It made me take more seriousness to what happens to our environment, see how often cases occur, the consequences that not only affect our surroundings but also our health. Realizing all this was thanks to the learning process, to see the number of people who die per day due to the environmental conditions in which the communities are. To some extent, I consider that analyzing all this was a positive aspect, since It was a way to reflect and conclude that we need to start changing our habits and the way we're thinking. Start generating ideas that support our environment, because although all the damages that we have done are irreversible, we can avoid those that occur in the future.